Your interest in RyugakuSuccess's BRIDGE Activity means you're serious to know how you can make your study abroad a recognized experience. This is the first of 7 presentations that talks about BRIDGE Activity. My name is Matt, and I'm your coach. This presentation has 59 slides. The other 6 presentations outline each step of BRIDGE Activity. Most study abroad students expect an experience abroad that helps them reach their full potential. But the reality is very different for the majority of study abroad students. Let's look at a 1-year time period. From months 3 to 4, many study abroad students realize something they are not changing as much as they had expected. Many study abroad students tend to increase the frequency of the same activities, hoping something will change. A few try new activities, but the results are mediocre. And in months 5, 6, 7, 8, only incremental change occurs. Study abroad students hope their internship will provide them with valuable experiences. Again, only incremental changes happen. Many of these students finish their study abroad and say, it was better to do study abroad than not to do study abroad, or they feel they grew somehow. But we must remember this. Study abroad is not about how much you develop. Instead, it's about how much the future interview is convinced that you are ready to work. Most study abroad students have a homestay or room share, dorm, or live alone. They have free time and they go to school. Some students do work holiday or OPT, and some have an internship. Their experiences are typically not the life-changing experiences their future boss or interviewer hopes. The reasons are plenty. These are the 6 basic problems. Study abroad students may feel as though these are not so serious, and that's because they are measuring their progress incorrectly. The way to know if one is ready for the work environment is to get feedback from those people in the work environment. The result is that students are not as strong in the interview as they could be. We must realize that no matter how prepared we think we are, we must measure ourselves from the standard of the interviewer. BRIDGE Activity is designed so that study abroad students can understand and adjust themselves to meet this standard years in advance. This is how a typical job candidate is perceived by an interviewer or industry person. Though typical students may have good grades, they tend to lack in other areas. For this reason, job hunting becomes stressful for both interviewer and for job candidate. The interviewer must determine a candidate's suitability for a position in the company. On the other hand, job candidates compete to get a job offer from a company for which they know little about the realities of the job. The risks for both interviewer and job candidate are high. After experiencing the realities of work, the job candidate can potentially lose motivation or quit the job within a short time. Daini Shinsotsu is a waste of time for both parties. RyugakuSuccess lowers this risk by helping study abroad students bridge the gap between what students know and assume and what hiring managers want and expect. Let me introduce BRIDGE Activity as your strategy to find a job where you know the realities and that makes the hiring managers feel confident that you are the appropriate job candidate. These 5 points are what you can expect as a result of meeting and learning from industry people. Meeting industry people and learning from them is called information interview. If you are not sure in what industry you would like to work, then choose 1 or 2 industries temporarily. Later in this presentation, I mention the value of temporarily choosing an industry. Study abroad students who meet industry people tend to enhance these other important areas outside of school. It's true that when study abroad students know more about the realities of their targeted job or industry, there is a higher likelihood to be satisfied and productive in their work. It should be no surprise that these kinds of study abroad students are more attractive in the eyes of the interviewer and hiring manager. So let me tell you a little about who I am. I was a study abroad student in Japan for 3 years. I lived with an acupuncturist, a hairstylist, and a politician for a year each. My activities were similar to a typical study abroad student. I had friends, I did many cultural activities, and I studied hard at school and did a lot of homework. Eventually I got a job, but I struggled unnecessarily. It took some time, but I slowly realized that knowing people was a big factor in making career progress. So I started to be more proactive to meet people. In fact, looking back, A large part of Bridge Activity is based on the teachings from my Japanese homestay families. I started my career in IT and worked in a few other industries such as package design and investor relations. I hated these jobs. I was Daini Shinsotsu before the word existed. It was during these years that I put my homestay family's advice into action, and opportunities shortly came my way. My career roadmap became clear in about 2 years. It took time and it took patience, but I found what I wanted to do in regards to work. Some of the companies I have worked are Itochu, KDDI, NEC, and Japan's Somsho, where I represented Japan at United Nations and World Health Organization. I have also worked in smaller companies where the culture was American and Indian. Most of my working environments were international, and what I found was that the problems study abroad students face are the same for just about any student. Schools are not meeting the expectations of the industry. RyugakuSuccess's goal is to help study abroad students succeed. It doesn't matter if they go study in France, US, Spain, Philippines, etc. RyugakuSuccess can support. Please note that success doesn't mean getting a job at a big company or a job that pays a high salary. It means being as prepared as you can be to compete for a job that fits you. I'm focusing on Japan because this is where I feel I can contribute the most. My interest was to travel around the world and meet people of different cultures. To do this, I first had to develop a skill. So I learned IT and telecommunications. On top of studying hard, I also met many industry people to not only gain more current knowledge, but also to be known. And at my job, I always did more than required. I remember my homestay father saying, if you want a promotion to the next level, you must first show that you can work at the next level. Over time, people in the industry noticed me and my reputation spread. Eventually, companies started to, and still do, call me. Yes, it's possible. I'm not bragging, I'm simply letting you know that this is possible. Bridge Activity is neither my creation, nor is it new. It's simply what industry people do to thrive and survive. My goal is to have study abroad students realize the importance of doing what most inevitably do by trial and error. Take action now because the benefits will come much sooner. While working in IT and telecommunications, I had interns and I was unofficially coaching students. It wasn't until 2005 that I began officially coaching students and had some of them create the Taikendan. My goal was to someday share their stories of experiences with study abroad students directly. That day has come. Here is my profile. Again, a great job does not have to be some big name company. Everybody has a different idea of great. The point is to find the realities of jobs and industries that you may be interested to work. If you find it, that's great. For some study abroad students, they may realize what they don't want to do. This is also good because they avoided becoming a Daini Shinsotsu in that industry or job. These students were able to pivot early. They quickly made a change and started to look at other industries. As my life evolves, so do my goals. Now I coach students, I manage my share houses, and I help Japanese companies. I'm usually in Japan 2 to 3 times a year. This is my happiness. RyugakuSuccess's goal is to help all study abroad students reach their potential. RyugakuSuccess has coached many students from different backgrounds and education levels. Foreign language students, college students, university students, master's and PhD students, and industry people. Though focusing on Japanese study abroad students, RyugakuSuccess has coached students from US, Korea, India, China, Germany, Vietnam, and many more. The method of Bridge Activity is relevant for any industry and any person who plans to work. Let's see some titles of past RyugakuSuccess students' stories of experiences. Notice the industry of each student is different. Yosuke focused on IT. I think 20 journal entries is around average, but Yosuke was hungry to meet industry people. You could say he not only had curiosity, he took action. It was good that Yosuke lived in my share house because I was able to see his potential. Paying rent on time, taking responsibility to clean weekly, and being proactive to solve small house-related issues are traits that can be transferable to the job. As a result, I felt confident to introduce Yosuke to my friends in industry. I always say, a problem is a problem. It doesn't matter if the problem is in the office or in the home. Be a problem solver. Most study abroad students meet around 10 to 20 people. I think 20 people is a great goal because you get a lot of current information about your target industry. Tomoe wasn't sure what industry she wanted to focus on, so she chose 3 industries. She even communicated with Japanese people. Meeting people from your country is also good because you can learn at a deeper level when you use your mother tongue. Please remember, RyugakuSuccess is less about learning a language and more about bridging career gaps. I once heard an interviewer say about a job candidate, that job candidate can speak fluently, but after 3 minutes of talking, he didn't say much. I will talk about language in another presentation. Maki is a master's student of architecture in England. He met around 13 people within 3 months. Toshie is an industry person in Japan and does bookkeeping. She wanted to change industries but decided not to change jobs after meeting industry people working in the industry in which she was interested. The point here is that meeting industry people is a valuable activity no matter what age. So let's compare a typical study abroad student with a study abroad student who does bridge activity. Students go abroad thinking to do many activities. They realize later when it's time to interview for a job that they are not well prepared. Some get a job. Of these, some have a hard time to adjust as the reality of the job is different than what they expected. And some decide to change jobs. These are the Daini Shinsotsu. This graph shows that the interviewer cannot recognize all of the activities that study abroad students do. The study abroad student who has several information interviews tends to be more attractive in the eyes of the interviewer. Bridge Activity shows examples and provides strategies so to make your study abroad a more recognized experience. For example, a student who is interested in hospitality goes to New York on vacation and stays at a hotel. Compare the yellow dots. The typical student does not interact with hotel staff or the manager. The Bridge Activity student, on the other hand, will take 1 hour to ask hotel staff and the manager a few questions. Another example is the student who goes to an industry event and meets industry people. Compare the red dots. The typical student may meet a few industry people, learn about the industry, and ask for advice. On the other hand, a Bridge Activity student will know the strategy to first help the industry person using the law of reciprocation. I talk more about this in another presentation and on my Facebook page. In short, Bridge Activity students are better aligned to meet the expectations of hiring managers and tend to have higher job satisfaction. What do you need in order to do Bridge Activity? You simply need a self-realization matrix template and a database template. You can request these free of charge via the RyugakuSuccess website. In particular, please see Maki's and Tomoe's stories of experiences. You can find industry people from local magazines and local newspapers. You can also create an account on LinkedIn and on Facebook and use Google to also search for industry people. Save these industry persons' information in your Excel database. Then start to send requests for information interviews and meet industry people. If you'd like, create your own stories of experiences. This is a great keepsake of your study abroad. There are many books and magazines that give career advice. This is because there's a need. All industries need new hires who can contribute from as close to day one as possible. So why not show effort and start to bridge your career gap? The result is a more attractive job candidate compared to typical job candidates, and, also important, higher job satisfaction. A famous company which helps students return to Japan to find a job says this: 周りの人に聞いてみることが大事です。And ぜひ多くの人に自分に関するインタビューを行ってみてください。This is exactly Bridge Activity. The company continues with, 英語が活かせることだけではなく、自分が何をしたいのかということもよく考えて企業選びをしてください。RyugakuSuccess thinks that taking action with a plan and strategy is better than only thinking about doing something. The first step in Bridge Activity is B, Brainstorm. Brainstorm everything you can about your industry of interest. Brainstorm about other things such as likes and dislikes. The goal is to get to know yourself. Even if you know what industry you would like to target, this is a good tool. For students who are still undecided, this is a great way to reduce the choices to 2 or 3 industries. It's all right to be curious about a few industries. Many past students met industry people from several industries. Use the self-realization matrix here. The next step is R, role play. During this step, you role play or practice the information interview with your homestay family, roommates, friends, etc. During this step, you search for industry people you'd like to meet. Save their details such as email, name, company website, LinkedIn link, etc. in your database. Using the first strategy called request a time to meet, send industry people emails requesting a time to meet with you. See Tomoe's stories of experiences for an example of a good information interview email request. The next step is I, information interview. Here, your goal is to learn from as many industry people as possible and to increase your understanding of the industry and the kinds of jobs industry people do. The other goal is to leave a good first impression so the industry people remember you. Have a goal to meet 15 to 20 people in a year. You will be surprised how many industry people will encourage and help you reach this goal. Some industry people may offer to introduce you to other industry people. The next step is D, develop relationships. Your goal is to get introduced to more industry people and meet a second time the industry people who you met before. During the second meeting, or information interview, your goal is to have a discussion about the industry. After several months, you should sound more clear on what industry you'd like to work and perhaps what kind of job you'd like to do. Sometimes students realize what they do not want to do. This is also important. Please see Toshie's and Kentaro's stories of experiences for a few of the strategies they used. The next step is G, set the goal. Set your goal and start to send your resume to companies. At the same time, inform industry people you know that you're looking for a job. Introductions across borders is not uncommon. Sometimes you can meet the manager directly. The final step is E, experience. At the job interview, an interviewer's mission is to determine your suitability. This is the time you show your shigoto ga dekiru kakusho, or proof of performance. I call it POP. POP is your way to show that you have prepared well, that your understanding of the industry is realistic, and that you're ready to work. POP is the closest to experience without actually having worked in a company. You taking the effort to fill your career gaps will be highly recognized. Bridge Activity is a step-by-step process where you start to change yourself over a short time span to become an attractive job candidate. If you're not sure what type of job you want to do or in what kind of industry you'd like to work, don't worry. RyugakuSuccess's Bridge Activity can help you. In the above image, we have 2 students, A and B. They want to play a sport from today, but are not sure which sport to choose. A decides to wait until she knows what kind of sports she'd like to do. B, though not sure if skating or swimming is good for her, decides to enjoy skating knowing she can change later. Some months later, A decides to start swimming and B decides to change to swimming. Question: which swimmer do you think will have more conditioning and skill the day A and B decide to start swimming? Answer: swimmer B will be stronger because 40 to 80% of her conditioning and skills from skateboarding can apply to swimming. Many students are stuck thinking about what job they want to do. They don't take action until it's time to decide. Rarely do they decide because they know what industry they want to work. They simply decide because there is no more time to decide. If study abroad students can simply start from today, they will become much more attractive to the interviewer because their industry knowledge and skills will be higher. Remember, if you later decide on a different industry, you can take 40 to 80% of your knowledge and skill. Some students realize that the industry in which they did Bridge Activity is the industry they want to work. Either way, you are more attractive than typical study abroad students. In fact, you may be more attractive than most students. Bridge activity can be included in your fun time. You may learn more about the job you plan to do in the near future by meeting people who are in their third or fifth year than by meeting directors and CEOs. Of course, if you can meet these high-level people, that is great too. It may be also fun to do bridge activity together with a friend. Why not? By doing bridge activity, many past study abroad students were invited to holiday and business parties. Some of these students created long-lasting friendships to this day. This is because making friends in a business setting is much different than making friends at school or at a club or at a bar or at a house party. Having a strategy is important to increase your chance for a job offer. RyugakuSuccess's Bridge Activity provides you with a strategy. RyugakuSuccess's Bridge Activity is available to everybody and provides useful information. At RyugakuSuccess.com, you can listen to past students' stories of experiences and bridge presentations. Bridge book is also useful to read. It's a fictional story of 4 study abroad students who do bridge activity. Use this as a template to do your bridge activity. You can also see the Ryugaku Success Facebook page. Here are some past students who did bridge activity. There is good information for you to pick up so that you can start your own bridge activity. These stories of experiences are in audio format and online. But just listening is not enough. These videos are intended to provide you with the encouragement for you to start creating your own bridge activity. Please understand that these students are regular students who simply took consistent action. You can too. Bridge Activity book is about 4 fictitious students. The stories of these students will help you see bridge activity from another perspective. In the Facebook page, you will see some comments from students who took coaching, from students who lived in share housing, and comments about other topics. There are 7 presentations. This presentation is the first. The other presentations explain each step of bridge. For a fee, you can benefit from talking with Coach Matt, either online or face-to-face. If you are in Seattle, the niche share houses may be good for you. You can choose either basic or advanced coaching. Please see RyugakuSuccess.com for more information. Food is not included in this share house. You can choose either basic or advanced coaching. Food is not included in this share house. You can choose either basic or advanced coaching. Food is included in this homestay. Advanced coaching is included with mandatory stories of experiences creation. Matt is proactive to help you meet industry people. Most students expect and hope for a study abroad experience that helps them reach their full potential, but the reality is very different for the majority of students. For a lot of money, the return on investment may not be very good. Ryugaku Success helps study abroad students take action to reach their full potential, and the additional cost is from 0 yen up to around 150,000 yen based on coaching sessions. You have invested a lot of money and time to study abroad. Having a strategy may help you achieve your goal. Take action and change with bridge activity. Challenge yourself to fight. Ryugaku Success wants to help you reach your full potential. Thank you for listening. Your next steps are as follows. Number 1, read the website and Facebook pages. Number 2, listen to past students' stories of experiences. Number 3, learn the bridge activity steps via the presentations and bridge book. Number 4, take coaching online or in person, or live in one of my share houses. Ryugaku Success hopes you have a safe and meaningful study abroad. Please feel free to contact me in Japanese or in English. Thank you.